Hey, let's go over some Spurs news and notes you may have missed, and then ask the question: is it okay to cheer for the Dallas Mavericks?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope everybody's having a great work week. And we always thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. You guys make this show run, and we appreciate you subscribing wherever you can. Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Pick a platform. We are there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. What are we talking about today? You can see it on your screen. I'm going to kick you off some Spurs news that you may have missed, and then ask a big question that, well, we're going to get into it in just a few moments with Rudy Campos who sweeps the league. But is it okay for Spurs fans to be cheering for the other NBA team up I-35, wherever it is? Yeah, Dallas, the Mavericks. They are one win away, or they're on the verge of going to the NBA Finals. But is it okay for Spurs fans to be cheering for the Dallas Mavericks? And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, and the comments you're leaving at the YouTube page. But first, some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. Well, there's going to be more reason for you to go to the Rock at La Cantera other than Spurs watch parties. And although that is a fun thing to do and all the other events, the Spurs Sports Entertainment have announced and have already did the grand opening of Roca and Martillo. Yes, a very fancy restaurant at the Spurs La Cantera campus. Interesting that Roca and Martillo, there's actually a play off Pounding the Rock. So sticking with that Spurs mantra there. Very nice. You could get reservations right now. What else? They have a wide menu. They got one of the top chefs in San Antonio leading the charge as far as giving the best food to Spurs fans. And yeah, it is now open. You can now go in there and enjoy yourself some fine cuisine at Roca and Martillo. That's at the Rock at La Cantera. You want to more details about that, you want to go to kens5.com/Spurs to go check it out. Also, kind of Spurs news-ish. And I think we're going to talk more about this on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Spurs. But very briefly, ESPN's Kendrick Perkins pretty much Rudy Gobert for not being the defensive presence that he believes he should be in the series versus Dallas. As he went as far as to saying that he regrets voting for Rudy Gobert, that Rudy Gobert is tarnishing the DPOY award, and just called him out, saying that he's not making any impact right now with Minnesota. How does this relate to the Spurs? Again, we're going to talk about this tomorrow on Locked On Spurs, but maybe this is, kind of an indictment against the voters for not picking Victor Wembanyama. It's an interesting question. How would Wemby do right now if he was in the conference finals against the Dallas Mavericks? Would he be putting up better defensive numbers than Rudy Gobert? Again, we're going to be talking about that on tomorrow's Locked On Spurs. And finally, I think it's kind of a very, very good one right here. Congratulations, a local math athlete in San Antonio. San Antonio's own Camila Ramirez was selected for the 2024 NBA Math Hoops Global Championship in New York City. She attends Bonham Academy, in San Antonio. And she'll be representing the Spurs as part of the Spurs Math Hoops team. Again, it will be on June 25th to June 28th, right alongside the 2024 NBA draft. He was just among 24 students from the U.S. and worldwide selected to participate in the tournament. And now, look, Spurs have been all about math programs, math education during the regular season. They had a kind of a math hoops event at the Frost Center. Blake Wesley took part of it. I believe Champagne was a part of that too. So they were really all about pushing for the Spurs math hoops. And basically what it is, you have to solve math problems and then go do some baskets on the court. So, good luck to her. She'll be definitely bringing home a title to the Spurs in the math education department. We wish her the best of luck getting that math hoops title out in NYC. But yeah, congratulations to Camila Ramirez. I mean, 24 worldwide who was selected to go compete. So tip of the cap to her. We'll see. Hopefully, crossing fingers, she'll be bringing home to the San Antonio Spurs math hoops title to San Antonio. All right, there you have it. Some quick Spurs notes. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. We're going to be asking, is it okay for Spurs fans to be cheering for the enemy, Dallas Mavericks? And what are Spurs fans saying about that topic? That's pretty interesting. Then we're going to talk about you guys, the Locked On Spurs fans, some comments I'll bring it up at the YouTube page. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, but first I want to talk to you about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, listen up. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. You heard that right. $150 to bet on spreads, money line, player props, so much more at FanDuel. Go download that app right now. Put it on your cell phone. Go create an account. Do what you got to do. Get it on your mobile device and start having some fun with FanDuel. I get it. The Spurs are not, they don't have a horse in the race right now in the NBA postseason, but nevertheless, there is some connections to the Spurs. You got Derek White with the Boston Celtics. That'd be a fun thing to watch. Maybe you're cheering for the Dallas Mavericks. More reason for you to have fun. You want to see Texas represent and bring home a title. That's why you got to go get FanDuel right now. You should have it too. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon right now. Make every playoff shot count. You got to go to FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. I talked about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Happy birthday, Mudslingers. It is their 7th birthday, and they're still a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member of San Antonio. Serving San Antonio the best drinks in the city. You need a latte, they got it. Cold brew, they got it. Dairy alternative drinks, they got that too. Caffeine drinks, caffeine-free drinks, they have it all, including mini donuts. You want to follow them on social media right now at Mudslinger SAT. Just a heads up, they're going to start using Lotus Energy instead of Red Bull. Now, if you want Red Bull, they'll still have it, but the default is going to be Lotus Energy. 7 power plant extracts in that Lotus Energy, giving the same effect, the same kick as Red Bull. Gives them and you more flexibility to create new drinks. Go get yourself a lightning bolt drink. It's available right now. Again, Red Bull will be on hand, but the default will be Lotus Energy. So go get it. 7 power plant extracts. Can't beat that. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now, San Antonio, because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs. Pass on what you have learned.
And look who is back, everybody. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. And we're not going to forget this time. Rudy, here you go. There. Rudy gets walk-up music because he is our go-to guy when it comes to being a guest on Locked On Spurs pretty much weekly now. So we give him his own walk-up music, his own intro music. Last time he was on, we forgot to do that, so we made it up for him at the end of the show. But I didn't forget this time, Rudy.
I appreciate it, man. I'm honored to get my own walk-up music. It feels like I've made it. I'm on the cusp of Hall of Fame. The Locked On Hall of Fame is what I'm hoping for one day.
Yeah, he'll be talking about Sweep the League in just a few minutes, so get ready for that. But let's dive right into it. Rudy Popovich recently was caught on video that went viral among Spurs fans, at least, of him cheering for the Mavs. He says, "Go Mavs." Hey, Mark Cuban, go kick some bleep. And that kind of sparked a debate that's still going on till today, whether or not it's okay for Spurs fans to cheer for the Mavericks. Yes, the Mavericks, the same Dallas Mavericks that was a heated rival in the early 2000s, the same Mark Cuban that poked fun of the Riverwalk, San Antonio, the same Mavericks team that had Jason Terry and that, and just talking all sorts of smack talk. The big question here, Rudy. Spurs fans, for the most, they don't have a dog in the race right now. They're with the NBA playoffs finals looming. But is it okay? Should we give the Spurs fans the blessing to go ahead and cheer for the Mavericks?
I honestly, if you're going to cheer, you can cheer for whoever you want. And I say it's the Texas Ties. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks, obviously a Texas team. I know there's a hated rivalry
Yes, there
What
is.
90s and the 2000s, Nowitzki and Duncan had those epic battles. And, it was just a big time rivalry for Dallas and San Antonio, but there's no issues with it at all. If you want to cheer for Dallas or you want to cheer for Luka and Kyrie to get, Kyrie to get another ring, Luka get his first ring, that's fine. Jason Kidd, getting a ring for him. It's just, it's kind of, it's kind of pick or choose. Honestly, if you want to cheer for Dallas, cheer for Dallas. But I think you're going to see a majority of Spurs fans, regardless if it's Dallas or if Minnesota pulls off the miracle and comes back down 3-0. You're probably going to see more Spurs fans cheering for Boston because of the ties with Derek White.
Right.
But hey, if Pop wants to cheer for the Mavs, by all means, do whatever you want. If you're a Spurs fan, you want to cheer for the Mavs. There are some Spurs ties because if you want to dive deep into it, Markieff Morris, brother of former Spurs signee Marcus Morris, is on the Mavs team. So there's ties all the way around, man.
For me, we're going to get to some of the reaction to it. I did ask Spurs fans how we all react, and we got a lot of reaction to it. But I'm going to say, no, I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. Look, I want to see this team remain competitive. I want to see this team have issues with Houston. I think all Spurs fans can agree Houston is the chief rival of the Spurs, of the Texas teams.
Yeah.
Dallas is second. And I get it. It was kind of a respectful rivalry with Mavericks and San Antonio back in the day. But no, I want this team to have a little bit of a killer instinct. Like, from the head coach on down to the last guy on the bench, I want this Spurs team to have a little dog in them to be like, no, we're going to be friendly to the in-state team, team that's chasing another title, right on their heels, Mavericks still got a long way to get to 5 titles, but
the thing is, if you go for the Mavericks, Jeff, doesn't that kind of paint a better picture for Spurs because now you're chasing a team that is not only in your conference but in your division, who are NBA champs. So you have a lot more to look forward to.
No, I want them to lose. I want them to be dejected. I want Mavericks to go into next season dejected, not winning. Maybe that might spark them to give them like a 2014 Spurs run to the finals. I hope it doesn't. Yeah. But no, I as a Spurs fan, when I have my Spurs fan hat on, no, I want Spurs to be the best in Texas.
They're going to be the best.
I know it's being classy and you want to win with class and lose with class, all that good stuff. But I want to see a little bit more dog in the Spurs team and, bleep the other teams in Texas. We're the best. We ain't cheering for you all. Going that. But look, did it come to a surprise for me to see Popovich do that? No, it didn't at all. Remember last year telling Spurs fans don't boo Kawhi Leonard? Yeah, there's that. The Spurs did give Dirk Nowitzki a tribute video. Yeah. And, ironically, his final game in his NBA career was against the Spurs. Mm-hmm. So, and I get that. And so it wasn't too surprising. Popovich preaches, being a class on and off the court and, cheering, for others to excel. But I ain't Pop. And I don't want the Spurs to, look at those two teams in Texas and say, no. We ain't cheering for y'all. We're our own thing, all right? You do you do. We ain't cheering for y'all. But what? You have any other comments before we get to some Spurs fan reaction?
It's not so much comment as I think you're hitting it on the head on the nail. There is the fact that as a Spurs fan, you really don't want to cheer for the Mavericks. I get that. I totally understand that. Personally, we're laying it out on the table. I've picked Boston at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to stick with Boston to win the title. I just think they're complete. But there's no problem cheering, for the Mavericks if you're a Spurs fan. I feel you're right. The competitiveness is there. You want to be the best team in Texas. Well, to be the man, you got to beat the man. So if you can have the Dallas Mavericks as NBA champions and you're going into next season, say the Spurs are 3-1 against them, maybe possibly 4-0. That would give you more confidence knowing you own the champs from the previous season. So there's positive ways to look at it if Dallas wins the title. Truth be told, I don't see them winning the title. That's just my opinion.
Ooh, interesting.
But then again, crazier things have happened in the NBA, like Victor Wembanyama getting screwed on Defensive Player of the Year. But
Yes.
that's for a
By the way,
whole other
that's for a
day.
whole other show. Yes. All right. So it was mentioned Spurs fans are reacting to what Popovich had to say, cheering on for the Mavericks. And Rudy, I don't know if you're surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I was, but majority, not all, but a good majority of Spurs fans are cheering for Dallas. Yes, they're openly admitting it publicly that they are rooting for Dallas in these NBA playoffs. So let's read a couple of y'all left a lot. So we're going to get to stuff. So we'll get a little bit of those that are pro and those that are con against what Pop said. So the first one came from Isaac at IKED Reyes. So thank you, Isaac. He says, no big deal. Spurs and Mavs feel like a sibling rivalry to me. I'm rooting for them too. So he agrees with Popovich. Another one, this is from Peacemaker75 on X. He says, I'm rooting for the Mavericks. I'm a hardcore Spurs fan, yet wouldn't mind seeing the O'Brien Trophy raised in the great state of Texas. And then this is an interesting one. This is from at Texas State Sports F1. That's TX State Sports F1 on X. He says it's easy to root for Luka and Kyrie. All right, so those are a little bit of the sample of the pros. It seems to me the common thread is, hey, at least Texas is going to win.
Yeah, I mean, the great state of Texas. You get to bring the Larry O'Brien Trophy back home to the state of Texas. But, again, no issues at all. I don't have any problems with them cheering for Dallas. If you're a hardcore Spurs fan, I get it. The thing to me is I see a lot of people talking about Luka and, hey, Luka deserves it. Luka's a champ. Luka's going to be the face of the franchise and everything. If that's a reason why you want to root for Dallas, I'm okay with that as well. But there's players on that team, one in particular, Dante Exum. I'd love to see him win a title. You're talking about a guy who was a lottery pick when he was drafted, had a bunch of struggles in Utah. I mean, basically out of the league. Mark Cuban and the Mavericks coaching staff gave him an opportunity, and he's excelled with them. So you've got a lot of good, storylines on Dallas's roster, Dante being one. But again, no problem with, the Mavericks winning the title. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked, Jeff. I'm shocked that you have majority or a good amount of Spurs fans rooting for Dallas because of the Derek White thing in Boston.
Yeah. That I'm interested. I thought, if I have to pick a horse in this race, I'm rooting for Boston.
Yeah.
One, because of Derek White. Two, because I have a lot of ties to the Boston Celtics media. I pretty much spent a lot of time in Boston. So I'm going for that. But let's get into those who said, hell no, they ain't going to root for Dallas. Okay. Where to begin? All right. The first one says, let me find here. I had it here just a few seconds ago. So forgive me, everybody. Well, first of all, can I throw in a bonus pro? This is from actually Mike Jimenez. He says, no biggie. There's no heated Spurs Mavericks rivalry. Anyway, they respected Tim. We respected Dirk. Most Spurs fans I know are cheering for Dallas over Boston. So, the Jimenez is with that angle about, hey, the mutual respect between Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki. So there's that. That's an angle I didn't think about. But let's see. This should tell you how many pro Mavericks fans are there right now. Okay, let's see. Okay. First one against what Pop said is from at 210ISAPAT. I'm gonna have to bleep a lot of this stuff out. So everybody, so hang on. LMAO bleep the Mavericks. I hope the Celtics destroy them. So that's a Spurs fan right there. I got another one here, and perhaps the best one that I could find right now that is against cheering for the Mavericks comes from @_bad_brains on X. Let me make sure I don't have to bleep it. We're good. Okay. He says, any Spurs fans who is cheering for Dallas is one, a Cowboys fan, and two, not a real Spurs fan. So there's another sample there of those that are against it. So it seems to me that I can surmise from those that are against rooting for Dallas is you're not a real Spurs fan if you do. What do you think about that?
Man, this is a toughie for me because I get if you're diehard. I mean, you won't ever catch me cheering for Duke Blue Devils. I mean, but that's kind of a different hatred I feel between, Carolina and Duke. But I understand if you bleed silver and black and that is your team, by all means, you don't have to cheer for anybody. You know what? Don't even watch the finals. Who cares? But at the same time, I don't want to see you rooting for Boston either if you go that deep. I mean, if you want to pick a team in the fight, pick a team in the fight. If you want to have Spurs fans cheering for Dallas, big deal. But if you're true diehard Spurs where you don't want to cheer for Dallas and you are bleeding silver and black, then don't cheer for anybody in the NBA finals. I don't care who it is. So I'm okay with the negative comments. I'm okay with those kind of comments. But if you're gonna come strong, stay strong and just continue with that same sentiment right there.
Throwing the gauntlet down there. Well, okay, let me ask you this, Rudy. Are you going to be wearing a Dallas Mavericks jersey should they make they're going to make the NBA finals?
No,
would you go that far? Would you go that far?
You know what? I'm gonna let you on a secret here. I own a Boston Celtics jersey, which you do know, a dorsal forte.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. So I actually own a Mavericks jersey, and it's a large that I got a long time ago.
What is it? A Jason Terry jersey?
It is not, and I'm gonna let you on the secret here. I own several NBA jerseys from other teams just because I love the game in general, but I own a Rolando Blackman jersey.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
And that's okay. That's okay.
I mean,
it's fine. It's an old school guy. But again, I'm not donning a Mavericks jersey. I'm not donning a Celtics jersey. I'm enjoying the finals the way it's supposed to be. The top two teams in the NBA. Now, are they the best two teams? Probably not. But the top two teams that fought their way through the playoffs are fighting for the Larry O'Brien trophy. I'm going to enjoy it. But again, if you don't want to cheer for anybody, don't cheer for anybody. Don't come at the last second saying, Boston's going to win it. I love the Spurs, but I'm picking Boston. No. If you're going to stay hardcore, be hardcore.
If we're going to go with majority rules, then majority of Spurs fans have ruled that it is okay to cheer for the Dallas Mavericks in their postseason run. All right, there you have it. When we get back, we're going to get into some Locked On Spurs comments that y'all been leaving on the YouTube page. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Oh, hey, this is Morty Smith and Cheese. You are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Cheese.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. He gets his special music. He's the only one on Locked On Spurs that gets walk-up music here. But we are talking all things silver and black. Later on, we're going to be discussing Sweep the League. Yes, Rudy's baby. What's going on in his neck of the woods with Sweep. But it's about that time we get into some Spurs fan comments that y'all believe it over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Make sure to go subscribe to that right now. Okay, you want to start off with a fun one or a serious one?
Let's do serious. I'm good for serious first.
All right, fine. And you know what, this kind of goes up your alley here because you're all about the draft and whatnot. So let me get one here. Here we go. First one is from Jimmy J. He says, I like Ricochet with the number 4 pick, but I don't think he'll drop that far. After him, I probably would go Castle or Shepherd, then maybe Holland or Dillingham at 8. That's from Jimmy J. What do you think about that? Look, I think the consensus right now is Ricochet should be 1 or 2 at this point. But what do you think about Castle, Shepherd, Holland, or Dillingham? Which of the 2 would you like to see the Spurs pick with 4 and 8?
So definitely Castle's number 1. I think on the last time I was Locked On Spurs, I had my big board updated for the Spurs, and I had Castle number 1. Just a great player. He's got all the fundamentals you want in a point guard. He's got a lot of room for improvement. Now, is he going to be a superstar? No, he's not going to be a superstar, but he checks a lot of the boxes that the Spurs need. I know shooting is one of his weaknesses, but he has improved his jump shot. He showed it at the combine. He's going to continue to show it in workouts. So I think Castle's number 1. If I had to go with any of the other guys, I'm not. Shepherd, I think, is one of the guys who's kind of a mystery right now. I'm not completely sold on Reed Shepherd. So it's kind of one of those things where if he's there at 8 and there's really nobody left that I want at 8, I can probably take him at that point. Dillingham is another good one. He's not number 4 for me at the number 4 draft pick. He's more of that 8 spot. Again, if your guys you're looking at are gone, Tijan Saloon, also a guy that I've been really high on. Dalton Connect is another guy. If one of those guys is there, you want to take them probably first. But again, Dillingham is probably the guy you want at 8. Honestly, man, it's Castle, and then for me, it's Dalton Connect. If you want two
Yeah.
guys that are going to come in and impact the game right away for the San Antonio Spurs, those are the two guys they got to really be looking at. You can actually put them in the backcourt, and then you could have Devin move into that small forward
Mhm.
position. So it kind of opens up the whole perimeter for Victor to work down below, or even a lot of screen, backdoor screens and everything that he can work with because he's a great passer.
I obviously the Spurs reportedly are looking at with intense eyes, Rudy,
Mm,
uh, Castle. And the more I read about the kid, it sounds like I think he would fit in seamlessly.
mhm.
Defensively, offensively, I think he'll fit great. But I'm kind of getting a little gun shy about Shepard. It
Yeah.
feels to me like some of his measurements, he might be a little maybe too undersized for the NBA. Am I misreading that, Rudy?
Yeah, it's not so much that he's undersized. I think he's overhyped right now. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the overhype. And you're looking at probably a Christian Brown, probably maybe an Austin Reeves, a lower tier Austin Reeves for me. When it comes to Shepard, his measurements aren't that great. He's a good shooter. He can score the basketball, but again, if you want instant impact, I mean, connects there, right there, plays the exact same way, if not more explosive than Shepard is. But again, Shepard is one of those guys where I think a team bites on him and takes him pretty early. He's going to go in the lottery, I'm pretty sure, but I have him actually right between. To be honest, Jeff, I have him right now between 12 and 19 in the draft. I
Okay.
don't have him in the top 10 right now.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you for that comment. Next comment is the fun comment. It's come from John Ortegan. I guess just let me just warn you. Just tread lightly. Okay. Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah.
John's comment is bring back the silver dancers. Exclamation point. Thank you for that comment, John. You know what? Um, the Silver Dancers. They were a staple with the Spurs for quite a long time before they decided to disband it and go with the Hype Squad. No knock on the Hype Squad,
No, yeah, no
but
hopping on a hype
but
squad.
the Silver Dancers, they were the OG team, man. I mean, man, remember when they used to hang out at the concourse? You better
Yeah.
take pictures of them individually. Not to say you
Mhm.
can't do that with the Hype Squad, but the Hype Squad they put on shows in front of the main entry of the Frost Center
Mhm.
there. But what do you think? Should the Spurs bring back the Silver Dancers?
We lost a great legend in Bill Walton, but I'm going to use one of his famous quotes and say, absolutely, you should bring back the Silver Dancers, man. It's the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I mean, are
Yeah,
they ever going to get rid of them? I mean,
yeah,
there's
exactly. The Laker girls,
the
yeah,
Laker girls. I mean, the Silver Dancers were becoming a true staple at Spurs games. It's kind of they weren't as high as the Coyote is, but I mean, when you were going to Spurs games, you knew it was the Coyote and the Silver Dancers. You know what? I actually got to meet a lot of them. They are great, great ambassadors for the San
yep,
Antonio Spurs. And again, no knock on the hype squad, but it was a sad day when they announced the Silver Dancers weren't
yeah.
going to be a part of
And
the
and
San
they, and
Antonio
they
Spurs.
came out of the blue. Remember that? It was like everyone
Yeah,
just
it
stunned. Like
just
what?
happened.
It
It
just
just
happened.
happened.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the Silver Dancers league, I forget which one it was, but they mentioned it like on social media, saying like we're done. Like just simple as that. They're
Yeah.
done. And and it's not to say that NBA teams can't do both. The Knicks, they have their dancers, and then they have
Mhm.
their version of the Hype Squad. The Nets, they have their dancers, and then they have their version of the Hype Squad.
Mhm.
So, and trust me, I know. I used to live in New York City for close to 2 decades. I
You
remember that.
it's a good thing
But
you brought that up, man, because you're okay. So we know the Coyote and all that. We know every team has that one staple. Phoenix was the Gorilla. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
it's not like that. But with the Knicks, this is a good thing you brought that up. With the Knicks, outside of their dancers, is it safe to say that the most iconic thing about Madison Square Garden is the organ player?
yeah, and I would say the organ player and the building itself, just the building.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I used to walk by the organ player when I. First of all, if you ever covered a game in MSG, everybody they don't put you in the front at all. Yeah. First of all, there's
Sitting
like
up
a
top.
tier thing to this. There's on
Yeah.
the middle bowl. There's like one little section for media, and you just got to be lucky that they slap your name on a seat. If not, you literally have to go to the upper crust of MSG. I'm talking the last layer, and your view is straight down.
Yeah.
And like 8 out of 10 times, I should say, I would always get that seat. Once in a while, I'll get the good seat. But nevertheless, as far as the Silver Dancers, yeah, I mean, it was a thing, the events, pre-game, during the game, the routines and everything. And, Jonathan's not the only one who says that. There's a lot of Spurs fans that are saying, hey, bring back the Silver Dancers. I know maybe it was a financial move. Maybe they say you just can't afford this anymore. Their salaries and all that stuff. They disbanded it. But I would be pleasantly surprised if they brought back the Silver Dancers. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Speaking of Sweep the League, what's cooking in your neck of the woods, dude?
Yeah, so we've released some NFL tidbits going into the season. We're kind of waiting on some Spurs talk to get into it more come free agency, come draft time before we drop any more Spurs. But released our very first mock season prediction, and I actually had the New York Jets and the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy, but very possible. So we're getting into that this week. The show is actually coming back this week. May not be a full show, but we've got a lot of content video that Shamai, our producers, getting done. So that's going to be coming out here pretty soon. We got a lot coming out. Subscribe to our channel, which will be shared on social media. Also, we've got a TikTok page as well. So we got a lot going on. But, real quick, just a quick shout out, man. The NBA did lose a legend recently in Bill Walton. And it's one of the tougher ones for me to say, that I've lost because I became more of a Walton fan with his commentary, just seeing him have fun on commentary. And he's one guy that I looked up to, when I talk about games, because that's what I want to do is just have as much fun as Bill Walton. So shout out to Bill Walton and his family out there, rest in peace, but legend. And yeah, man, it's just a tough loss.
I can say that I had drinks with him in New York City.
I've met him before.
In the middle of the week during my lunch hour. I did not want to leave. And no, it's not a tall tale anybody like Jimenez does.
Yeah, we don't do Jimenez tall tales.
I have photographic proof. I'll share with you, Rudy, later on. But that's my memory for me. I remember we were in a bar and it was near MSG, and he was there promoting like a new beverage, a new adult drink. And it was just a few of us. It was like maybe 6 that were allowed to go in and speak with him. But we thought it was going to be like a traditional media huddle, like all around him. Okay, thank you, bye. No, he sat down. We were like in a bar booth, and everybody was getting their drinks, and he just sat at the head of the bar, I guess, of the table, and was just telling the story after story after story after story of his games. And then, but he would always mix in like a promotion for the drink. But tough. I remember him from NBA and NBC days. He was a staple.
Yeah. Steve Snapper. It was him and Steve Snapper Jones. For me, real quick, was I used to be a coach in the Spurs Drug Free League. This is way back when. And the first time I met Bill, he was doing a coaching clinic for the Spurs Drug Free League. It was him and Joe Prutney, who's an NBA coach, with a couple of teams. He was a former Spurs coach at the time. And I remember going up to Bill and talking to him afterwards. And I said, if you had to give me any advice on being a successful coach and making it to the highest level as possible, what would you recommend? Puts his big old hand, Jeff, you remember he had big old hands. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you. Go get some plaid pants. Go get a plaid suit. Basically, go bald and call yourself Jack Ramsey. And I said, oh, my God.
I thought you were going to tell me he's going to tell you don't do it. I thought he was going to say that. Don't do it.
He said, call yourself Jack Ramsey and you'll make it far. I'm like, wow.
That is hilarious.
That's just the kind of person he was.
You get all that and more over at Sweep the League. Again, just follow Rudy on X at Sweep the League. And there you can see all the links to Sweep the League show and so much more. But we're not going to let Rudy go without his walk out music now. So there's his walk out music. Hey, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, so much more. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs ASAP. We'll be back tomorrow. More Spurs talk as the offseason continues. got to keep those comments coming in, man. Y'all help us keep those topics going. So keep on subscribing and leaving comments over the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel only on YouTube, provided from the Locked On Podcast Network. Go subscribe to that right now. But for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.